You know, I'm never gonna be able to. Oh, hi! Hi, we're back. Alright.
Oh, the sound went away.
What the hell? No sound. There it is.
Okay.
It was just trying to figure itself out, apparently.
Good news. I have information on your mystery woman.
Yay!
You are incredible, Ranger Akers. What did you find out?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Arsenic? Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
That's no good.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
Where's Yogi?
In the run, out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I understand he used to be the deputy here.
So?
According to Emily Griffin, Deputy Joe Akers was your father. And according to the journal I found, William Akers' son was named Joe. Another coincidence?
All right, all right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
Did William Akers ever say anything about the cemetery behind Malone's house?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew.
Oh.
In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.
Okay, see you later, Lee. Yeah, you wanted to see if it says something about bugs on it.
Yeah.
Bugs. Fish? No. Don't care about any of this stuff. Black crappies. Let's look about Lyme disease. Just joking. Don't care about any of this. Huh. I wonder how we're supposed to figure that out. Oh well.
Maybe 'cause you're on,
Maybe because you call your friends and they're like,
maybe 'cause you're on senior
maybe you call your friends, they already know. See all the tickets to see a show. Alright, should we tell Sally her well's been poisoned? We got called Vivian.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi, how's it going?
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found?
Is this a joke?
Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that?
No. Could it be true?
Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property.
How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
I'm still kind of trying to figure that out.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed. I know that.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
Do you know if Malone is really buried there?
The realtor said the cemetery was just a sham, that there's nothing under those tombstones but dirt. But he may have just been saying that so I'd buy the place. The only way to know for sure whether or not Malone is there is to start digging, and I'm certainly not going to do that.
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
Why don't you save before you call someone else? You don't have to go through that shit again.
True. It's not funny. Sorry. Fresh out of funny. V. Did you know every broken bone, I swear she lived.
1702 555 9137.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
That's right. I found it in the cellar of Mickey Malone's old house on Moon Lake.
Moon Lake. Talk about your fond memories. I had a lot of fun there. Although I wasn't anywhere near as wild as most young people were back then. But I think Mickey kind of respected me for that. I was his gal for 5 years. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Tell me about the speakeasy.
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
The cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using 2 main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but It's so small, and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him, inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole-in-the-floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
That was the name Akers used, too. What else can you tell me?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Did he ever say anything to you about a map?
Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
The dogs will lead the way?
He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think. He said he was making a treasure map and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey.
What can you tell me about William Akers?
He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I
Iggy.
liked was, what was his name? Iggy! I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
It's been fun talking to you.
Absolutely, positively.
Ethan.
Okay, so I gotta send her the picture. So, where I go to post the bug.
I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
Okay,
Always a
yeah.
pleasure. Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I in for another interrogation?
How much would it cost to send this photo to Vivian Burnett?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
Why? Is something wrong with him?
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best bird-watching venue in the world except for one thing. Too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
You're a nature lover, so wouldn't that be fine with you too?
He wants his park to be giant. So they'll give him another ranger.
Yeah, well,
He wants people.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Should we go to M's before we go home or no?
I guess.